Well, to discuss the latest developments in the U.S., I'm joined live by Tony Gosling, an investigative journalist from Bristol. Mr. Gosling, the scenes that we've been seeing, police brutality, angry protesters, well, this isn't the Middle East or North Africa. I mean, this is going on in New York City. It's being called the American Spring. Do you think that's a fair comparison?
Well, it's American autumn, but yeah, certainly the idea of Occupy Wall Street, I think, is a brilliant one, because the present people who have been running the American financial system over the last 10, 20 years or so have clearly made a mess of it. And I'd like to see some of these very ordinary people, the thousands that are out there right now, actually, I think they could do a far, far better job. So I'm very happy to see this happen. The thing is, what's happened is, particularly the American people, but also others of us in the West, have been caught in a financial rat trap by this lot, and you know, there are lives of billions of people are being affected by it. So I'm absolutely happy that this is happening in the United States, and of course not happy about and I think it's absolutely right to call it censorship, the lack of coverage. It seems this is a great deal of embarrassment, that that is what is actually going on here, particularly here in the UK press as well. There's been very, very little coverage of it. I mean, we're happy to report these kinds of things when they happen in other parts of the world, but this is happening in our own backyard, and it's hardly being reported here in Britain at all. And that's because of the massive embarrassment factor. Well, the financial elite have made a mess of things, and it's time to sort them out.
Right, but do you think that it's probably could it be a possible reason that the protest in New York City has probably not yet reached critical mass that would make it higher up in the headlines?
Well, of course, it should be much more in the headlines, because it's in our part of the world rather than one of the other parts of the world. That should make it a much bigger story. But there is clearly embarrassment about this, and also it seems that the options are being closed off by the financial elite, which includes, to a large extent, some of the mainstream media. This is why there's not being a proper explanation. Look what happened, for example, to Dominique Strauss-Kahn. He was a socialist financial guy who was offering some solutions, consolidation of these various different debts around the Eurozone, and he was then, a sting operation, it seems now, was launched against him. I think we're dealing with people who are absolutely in denial. They're not interested in what ordinary people want, and I think this tells us the scales are falling from our eyes. This shows us that America is not a democracy. They're not listening to what the people have got to say, and these are ordinary people coming up with their solutions, because those people charged with running our financial system have not just made a mess of things, they have actually orchestrated that system in their own interest.
Mr. Gosling, I'd also like to talk about the police brutality that have been reported, that we've been seeing in videos. Apparently they acted violently. What do you think the consequences of that will be? Do you think protesters will turn violent in return?
Well, it's absolutely inexcusable for the police to be wading in. In a democracy, in a democracy, the police do not wade in to peaceful demonstrators as they have been in New York. So I think this is another indication that America's democracy is actually failing us at the moment. It's failing the world. And it's absolutely not on for them to be going around the world so-called spreading democracy when they haven't even got democracy in their own country, you know, in their own government institutions. They need to be listening to what these people have got to say, and of course they're not listening. What we've seen is some of the big personalities who've been frozen out of the US corporate media over the years, like Roseanne Barr, appearing and giving speeches to the crowds, egging on the crowds in a fantastic fashion. She is another person who's got the solutions. What we need to see is arrests of some of the boards of these massive banks that have been committing fraud, like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, and we also need to see a government stepping in, the US Treasury stepping in, to stop the financial situation getting any worse. But it seems they're scared of this elite cult which is running Wall Street right now, and so you know, I think this is not going to just go away as the elite want it to, and as the media seem to want it to.
Right, Mr. Gosling, I just want to bring a slightly bigger picture, and just briefly, Obama is facing re-election, of course, next year. The campaign is already on. How do you think these protests will affect that?
Well, Tessa, it's difficult to say at this stage, because a year is a long time. Well, a week is a long time in politics. That's a long, long time in the future. But certainly Obama seems to have completely failed to inspire not just the US people, but the world. It seems he's more like a kind of glove puppet for the elite of Wall Street. And let's not forget the private military companies and the military-industrial complex in the US. This is all becoming one kind of organisation, a kind of shadow government. And actually Obama Obama is not really a player in this kind of thing. So I think possibly it will be almost irrelevant who gets in as the next president, unless it's someone who's prepared to deal with this financial elite.
All right. Thanks very much for your thoughts there. Investigative journalist Tony Gosling talking to us live from Bristol.